you ready for some cyber let's
And welcome to Top Corner Talk, everybody. It's Monday. It's a Victory Monday. Musa Seka, Mo Football, will be joining us in a little bit, but for now, it's myself, Jeremy Clements, our good friends in soccer, Oscar Rojas, and of course, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Charlie Bilyeu is back. Charlie, welcome back to the show, my man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a busy, what is it now, 2 months, month and a half now away from the show. I'll be here for just a couple minutes to talk about some stuff. I think we can get straight into it if you want.
Yeah, let's kick it off with some City 2 talk, Charlie Bilyeu style.
City 2 is, I think, the brightest spot in this organization right now. Sadly, they get their first loss, and I believe they had a 13-game unbeaten streak, something along that line. Just an insane streak for City 2 that was ended against the Portland Timbers 2 yesterday. Portland Timbers 2, St. Louis 2, City 2 1. So 2-1 final. City loses. Miggy Perez scored a pen in the 87th minute. Emil Jääskeläinen went out the red card in garbage time, the 93rd minute, technically. You had goals from Mateo Burnbury and Noah Cristiano Santos for Portland. But I think it's not quite a stain on what they've been doing. City 2 has been extremely impressive in their endeavors recently. They've clinched that first seed. The first home game, I believe they said, will be on the 17th of October, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be at City, at Energizer Park. I'll be there doing live updates for everybody that can't watch the game or anything like that. But I'm extremely excited for it. Of course, they've lost their best player, City 2. Makai Joyner getting that first team contract and playing with the first team exclusively has been a little bit of a hit to City 2. Same with McSorley being gone. But again, City 2 is not the main priority of this organization. If anything, it's a plus, right? You think of it as the AAA team it's the Memphis Redbirds to the city's St. Louis Cardinals in that sense. But some players that I've seen doing very well, you look from the first team actually coming down to the second team, getting less opportunities recently with the first team. Caden Glover's been there all season. He's been great. Juan Kuzain has been an underrated player recently. He played a great game last night. Akil Watts. You have Miggy Perez, of course, who scored the pen in the 87th minute. Jaden Reed. We saw him very prevalent last season, towards the end of last season with the first team. You get Zielinski, who you just loaned out. You get Horn, who you loaned out. And now at your main left back position is Totland, right? Or you have Totland, and then you also have a couple other players you can slot in there. But it's just been a logjam at left back. So Jaden Reed's got a good chance to kind of get more playing time with City 2. I know he'd rather have it with the first team. Another bright spot has been Emil Jääskeläinen, and it feels like he's a carbon copy of Schaukelaus, a little lengthier and a little skinnier. It feels like he is the stick figure version of Schaukelaus in the sense that he is a commanding 9, a striker that can score goals day in and day out, kind of similar to what Klaus did in the first year of the organization. Emil played a great game. I mean, to my standards, I think. I mean, of course, 2 chances created. He didn't have a shot on target, but I think some of the things that don't show up on the stat sheet for Emil were really promising. But other things with this St. Louis team, you look at them in the Western Conference, right? They've played all 28 of their matches. They finished with a record of 17-6-5, 60 goals for, 37 goals against, 62 points. That's 10 more points than the Town FC, the second place team in the West. So they are by far the best team in the Western Conference of MLS Next Pro. Let me check this playoff bracket because I think it's been decided.
It has not been announced yet. I was actually just looking that up. I'm not quite sure when they'll have the show to pick
the pick. Yeah,
looks like Thursday the 9th is what they're saying.
Okay, so that'll be in 3 days. They'll pick. It'll be the top seeding teams without a bye that will be able to pick. So St. Louis will not pick their opponent. They will get the winner of the 2 teams that do pick their opponent. just based off of because they get that first round bye. I think it's a really important thing for them to rest up. They've played a long season. 28 games for some of these kids is a long time, especially them splitting time with the first team. It's a good break that I think they needed right now. But I'm extremely excited for what they can do in the playoffs. I mean, they were solid all year. I don't see many holes in this lineup. I mean, you look at of course, the final score sucks. You don't ever like to end the season on a loss, especially when you're on a unbeaten streak similar to that of Crystal Palace, who just lost it recently. You were on a similar kind of run, and you lose. But you look at the underlying stats. City had 20 shots, 14 more than Portland did. They blocked 5 shots. Their passing accuracy was way better than Portland's, almost 10 percentage points better. They had 10 corner kicks, 13 crosses. I mean, if you just look at it, it reminds me of what City did earlier in the season, the first team, where they had a bunch of chances and didn't capitalize. But this team has already showed us that they can't capitalize on those chances. So I'm not necessarily worried about the execution come October 17th once that series starts. I'm more excited to see these young kids play in games that matter because I think that's extremely important for these young guys. I think to play in games that actually hold meaning because, of course, these regular season games matter. You're going to have a chance to prove yourself and go to the first team if you play very well. But to play in games, you see it playoff experience in these important games. It builds leadership in young players, and I think that's something we can see coming up. Is that I think Miggy Perez, I think Juan Kuzin, I think Emilio Escalante, and Jaden Reed, and I think a lot of players could grow from playoff experience this season. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see if Mackay Joyner and Brendan McSorley should be able to drop back down. I believe they're both still eligible because the only requirement I've seen, and I think I'll credit Matt Baker for shouting this out on Flyover a few weeks ago, is that you have to have appeared in at least 4 Next Pro regular season games. Those two obviously did that by far and away.
Yeah.
So that I would suspect they are hopefully still eligible to drop back down for the playoffs. And they will play at home on the 19th. The road to the MLS Next Pro Cup goes through St. Louis. And we'll jump to the chat real quick as we've changed streaming services, so I can't quite know if I can feature the question. So, Charlie, I'll pose Ryan Fraley's question to you. There we go. Who should City 2 pick? I have my idea on it, and Oscar will ask you the same thing. But Charlie, who do you think they pick?
Well, I think obviously you look at City 2 is at the top of the table. The easiest pick would be go to the bottom of the table, depending on who makes it out of that first round. I think personally, I would not pick Ventura County. I think that's the obvious choice is to pick Ventura County because they're the 8th seed, the team that would be first to be out of the playoffs. They snuck in with the same amount of points as Austin, but a better. I think they won head to head against Austin, so they snuck into the playoffs. I think it's the obvious choice, but I'm not going to go with it necessarily because Ventura has given City 2 fits in the past. You look at this season. I'm trying to remember. I know they played Ventura County FC at home. I'm trying to see what the final to that match was.
City lost 3-1 away, and then home they tied 1-1.
And there was a game last year too against Ventura County where it got really chippy, and both teams I think Ventura had 2 players sent off, and City 2 had 1. So I mean, it's been a chippy kind of really gritty rivalry. So I'm with you. I would avoid Ventura County.
I would say I would say I'm going to skip Ventura County here because of the fits that they've given City. Obviously, they've been on a downward spiral recently, but I'd actually go with the 7th place team in the City in the Next Pro rankings in the West. I'd go and I'd pick to play Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2. You played them earlier in the season, and on August 6th, you won 4-2. That game was actually away. So you went into the Vancouver Whitecap 2 stadium and you beat them handedly by 2 goals. I think it's the best matchup personally. I don't see any players that really stick out on this Whitecaps 2 team. If you take a look at their roster, they don't have a ton of players that have experience this season with the first team. One thing that sticks out to me is that left wing back position is really weak recently with Johnny Salamani. he's been really lackluster recently. And if they choose to put him out there, you look at that right side attack. If Mekhi Joyner comes down, if Brendan McSorley comes down, that would be the easiest matchup that you can possibly imagine. I think I'd pick Vancouver Whitecaps too. That's what I'd personally go with.
And Oscar, what do you think? Do you have a team, a preference? What are your thoughts?
I do not follow the league that much, so it would be kind of like hard to pick something. But just looking at results, and what you guys mentioned, yeah, I'll probably go with the Whitecaps. Ventura County, the only thing that I could say is on the last 7 games, they only won one and they tied one. So if you think about momentum, it might be something that they're a fragile team. They have been beaten badly in the past month. They only won one game against Sporting KC2. That was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But still, if you're saying, if you keep it in mind how the matchup has been in the past, then I would probably go with what you guys say, and that Vancouver will be a better fit.
Yeah.
Vancouver hasn't done that great either the last. Well, I mean, they have done a lot better. The last 7, they won 4, they tie 1, and they lost the last 2.
Yeah,
I
I think
Go ahead.
it's one of those things where it'll be a decision, because I think last year it was almost a given who would be picked for what slot just based on how it went. But this season, I think it's a little bit more complicated, because last season in Next Pro, you didn't really see that last day of teams sneaking into the playoffs. This time you did. You look at the Vancouver snuck in by 2 points. North Texas snuck in by 3. Ventura snuck in by 0, right? They snuck in based off of differential, and Minnesota snuck in by 4. So the Western Conference has a lot of, I'd say, weak teams. I mean, I'd be comfortable with City 2 playing Minnesota, North Texas, Vancouver, or Ventura County, if I'm being honest. But I think out of the 4 of those teams, I'd go with Vancouver.
I mean, so I'm gonna throw a vote in for North Texas. I agree. I do think Vancouver's the best fit, but just talking about North Texas a little bit. So they are the defending champions. They beat City 2 last year in the playoffs. I think it was in the final, actually.
It was,
if I remember correctly.
in Choctaw Stadium.
Yeah, and City opened the year at Choctaw, and they've beaten North Texas twice. They beat them 3-0 away in the first game of the season, and then most recently they beat them at 2-0 at Energizer Park. And North Texas is 6th, so they're not a shoe-in. They're what have they won? They've won 4 of their last 10. So I mean, yeah, they're not in great form as far as I can see. So I could see North Texas as well, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what direction John Hackworth and City 2 goes, and I think also just a real quick mention of Hack, because when you take your head coach out of a team, a development team or not, and you promote him and you bring in a new voice, I'm sure the players know Hack, right? But you bring in a new voice into the locker room to lead that team. You end up having guys going up and down, mainly McSorley and Joyner coming in and out, and even guys going on the national teams at times. So I do think Hack does deserve some recognition for yet again stepping in and leading a team to what's an MLS Next Pro record 18-game winning streak, or I'm sorry, unbeaten streak, because the MLS counts draws as not losses, which is fine.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive what Hackworth has done with this team, because look, you see what he's been doing, right? You have basically the whole coaching staff of St. Louis City 2 has been people that are doing multiple things.
Yeah.
The assistant coach is also the color commentary guy for the first team, on Y98.1. Dale's great. He's a great soccer mind and an even better soccer voice. But you look at John Hackworth, he's taking over in interim from Lutz Pfannenstiel, pardon me. You're looking at him managing City 2 after Christie got moved up. He's handling a lot of things, and the ability to still become a quality coach and still win games with this team is I don't think you can appreciate it enough.
And
I think with that said, before I head out here, I don't think we have time to do the whole thing, but we can go over the latest article I posted on Substack recently about player grades for the game on Saturday. Of course, City taking the win 3-1 against Austin in Austin against a playoff team. It's one of those things. It's like at the end of the season, they always get your hopes up, right, for next year. That's what happened last year. They started to do well after they got those summer transfers. But if you want to go through the top 3 players we think that did really well, I can start. I think I think it's an obvious. I think he was my only A+ player this game. It was Marcel Hartel. When you score 2 goals, the first one being an absolute banger, and the second one just being, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? If you got to just poke it past the keeper to get it in the back of the net, then go right ahead. 2 goals, right, in the first half, putting City way ahead in a lead that would stay for the rest of the match, winning by 2 goals. I think he was the best player in that match, 100%.
I don't think anybody argues that. I mean,
Yeah.
I won't. Anybody on here want to argue against it?
No. I
think-
would say, though, I might be the crazy one, but I think his second goal was actually the banger versus the first one.
That's fair. You're saying it's more technical, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think the way position your body and have the awareness to actually use the outside of your foot, and you can see it's not a powerful one. I think for me, that's maybe the one that's
Yeah.
because you've seen other guys do it over even this weekend, but
Yeah.
we'll probably could discuss that furthermore. But
For sure.
I think for me, the purist almost that goal kind of
It's a little cheeky.
It's different.
It's a little cheeky.
Yeah.
I liked it. And then I think I had my only A- grade being Alfredo Morales. He picked up an assist. I think this is the most impressive game we've seen from Morales and the most impressive game we've seen from Hartel. I said in my article, I think I'd argue this is the best game we've seen from both of those players. Alfredo Morales, he assisted on the first goal and assisted on Simon Betcher's 93rd minute strike. He had 8 defensive contributions. Just a great performance from a player fighting for a contract, right? He's an unrestricted free agent, no club option at the end of the season. He is fighting for a spot, whether it be with City or with someone else. He's trying not to be a trialist like he was in California. Did they play their preseason in California, St. Louis this year?
Yeah, it was. I think oddly enough, I think he was a trialist in the game against Austin out in California.
So he's trying to make it so he doesn't have to be a trialist again.
Yeah.
And I think he played an amazing game. I think he deserved an A rating there. I think, and then my third best player, he was tied with Simon Betcher at an A-. I think Thomas Totland was the best defensive player that game. He played an amazing match, in my opinion. He created. I mean, you look at the defensive side. Only 1 defensive contribution, which he didn't have too much pressure on his side of that match. But to be able to have the most chances created as a defensive player and have that impact that Totland almost has every game with the offense, to be able to move the ball up that wing, with pace and with confidence, to be able to just flip the field so easily and create those chances. I think it's extremely impressive what he does day in and day out, because we've seen him do it consistently. He created the most chances from any player on either team. 5 chances created in the match. I think he earned an A- in my opinion. And then the only reason I put him higher than Betcher is that Betcher had a very small sample size. 12 minutes. Of course, he scored in that 12 minutes, but I would have liked to see more of Simon to put him in the top 3. I don't think I can. It's like putting Tomas Ostrak in a rating. It's like I gave him a no rating because he played for 1 minute. I don't think you can't really judge it too well. But Simon had a great game, obviously. But I think Totland played a great match.
I agree.
Yeah. No arguments there, and I'm sure we'll probably get into more players, because I think there's at least one other guy that you hadn't mentioned that we might get into a little bit later on. Might also be in the midfield, just to spoil it a little bit, but no, it was arguably one of the better performances City's had in terms of just complete games, in my opinion. But we'll get into that more. Charlie, what's the Substack? Let's get
Substack. Substack.com/@CharlieBillieu. My full name right here. You can see it right here. Oh, right there.
Anyway.
It's also on my Twitter, or my X, or whatever. I still call it Twitter. You can find it. I post every Monday with player ratings based off of performances. I'll do it for City 2 coming up from the playoffs, and I'll do it for the last match the City plays. on the is it on the 18th this year? Their last match.
St. Louis City. Yeah, we wrap up the season on the 18th.
I may be able to get to that one. We'll see. It'll be rough because I might be stuck at the radio station working overtime, but we'll see. I appreciate you guys having me back for a bit. It's been hectic the last couple of weeks, but anytime I can come on here and chat with you guys is a great day.
Yeah, and don't ask if you still have a spot. You still have a spot.
You're the OG stats guy, Charlie.
Yeah.
We got to have you on. Somebody's got to teach me how to tell the stats and what I'm misinterpreting. Okay?
All right.
We always have your milk warm and ready. In case.
Oh my! You had to. You just had to, Oscar. You just had to. Hey, that's fine. Hey, it's just like I never left. Hey, have a good one, guys. I have a good rest of the show. It's good to come in again.
Yeah, good luck,
Charlie. So yeah, we'll run the sub in. Charlie out. Mo's back. Welcome to the show, Mo. How are you doing?
Another day in paradise. I'm a little tired. Sorry, I had to eat. I was hungry, but yeah,
we gotta eat.
Got done coaching.
Boy, gotta eat, man.
Yeah, got to take care of yourself a little bit. One thing I do want to go back to the City 2 conversation before we go full bore into this Austin game. Yes. One thing that I do find really impressive about City 2, and I know it's next pro, I know it's a couple levels below MLS technically, but when we talk about a City team that was really, really bad at holding leads and finishing games when they took a lead, or if they blew it, they couldn't rally back. There were only 4 times all season where City 2 dropped points from a leading position. That's insane to me that only happened 4 times, given just the kind. It's just maybe the culture, the locker room, the atmosphere was different. But yeah, only 4 times, and they actually still ended up getting a point in at least 1 point in 3 of those 4 games. The only game they actually dropped all 3 points was way back in April against Galaxy 2 in Ventura County.
And the other thing that they were very good was at coming back in results, because the last games were going behind in the game, and then they end up like pulling a comeback, or like at least just getting the tie to go to the PKs and then getting the result there. So I mean, it shows a little bit different attitude, but it's also because they're younger players. They're trying to prove a lot more than other players. They're hungry, so they want to. They have to have those moments, and also they have a big conviction of they can win it. I think they have been the 2 years that they have built this process. They have been close enough to savor the victory, and then they goes away. Yep. That this year they don't want to let that go away. So I think they're very hungry for it. I know I have heard from some of the insights that they are not let's say not confident. They're not cocky that they're gonna win it. It's just like their mindset is like, we will win this. We will. And that's something that you build up through the season. So it's good for them.
Yep.
A little concern in my views is that the past games have not been performing the way that they were performing 5 or 6 games ago. They have struggled a little bit. I don't know if it's because of that type of confidence that they're like, hey, we already there. Like, we already qualify. We already are in first place, and kind of like got a little relaxed per se. But still, they didn't get beat until like this last game. And for me, I know Charlie was saying like, oh, it's bad that you live the season with a loss. I think this is the best thing that could happen for them. Break that streak and start the playoff from the ground, and knowing that you have to work for it. Like, nothing's gonna be handed to you. So that was like a little, not a wake up call, but something like, hey, there's still competition to do, and you have to work for it.
Yeah, I mean, in 3 of their last 4 home games, they did have to come back to get a point at least. So, yeah, home form hasn't been great, but it's a test. I think the only other thing I will say, and this is going to sound critical, but I don't think it's meant critically. I think it's just stating a fact that from a Next Pro side perspective, we have one of the older teams, like, and in terms of average age. So not to say the season is not worth anything, but it's a developmental league. So how many of these guys? I think a lot of the guys are hungry to try to see and prove they're ready for the next level. I mean, Seth Antwi, I think it's a good example of that. Maybe even though he hasn't got a lot of time with the first team yet, he did get a first team contract because of his play at City 2 this year.
Yeah, and I think, like you mentioned, also maybe having, it looks like a little bit of that shift that may have dropped was, hopefully I'm wrong, but the influx of maybe the older players that were taking from the first team and kind of added to this to CD2. I'm starting to wonder maybe if that kind of removed a little bit of the connections that the first 11 had altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know how you're swapping too many players because you see a lot of first team guys that pretty much got taken off the roster. They're
Yeah.
now playing with City 2, and the youthness maybe and the connection that they built out the entire season might be a little bit affected with that new addition, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the other part that may help is also that the fact that those guys are more seasoned with like playoff like experience.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they can, the kilowatts and all that can kind of bring that experience to the end,
Yeah.
because you can be all, it's a win or go home, right? So
Yep.
if you're that explosive, you might score 3 goals, but you might allow a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see how, the changing of first team, second team, first team, second team,
Yeah.
how much did that affect that group in general?
Yep. And so we'll find out Thursday. I think it looks like is the decision day when the teams announce. I do think Charlie had that incorrect. There is no first round bye in the next pro playoffs. We'll select who we play on the 9th, and then the playoffs start for us on the 19th. There are earlier games on the 17th and 18th, but City 2 will start the playoffs at home against whoever they select, and they'll play at home throughout the rest of the next pro playoffs as long as they're alive. Even the final, should they make it, will be at Energizer Park.
And
So-
you should watch this show because it's fun.
What's up, Oscar?
Yeah, I mean, there's only 8 teams in the playoff. There's not 9 like the MLS. But the last thing, like I kind of like what Mo was saying, that the mix with the city main team that they're going down. I see more the influx of the players that being taken off the City 2 to go to the main team. That has affected the results and the performance in City 2, because I mean, you're taking the best 3 players off City 2 going up to the main team. Joyner, now McSorley and Anwi as well. So like you're getting 3 solid players that they're taking time from practicing in the team. Their time off of just focusing on the prep of the game of the weekend, because they have to prep for 2. So I think that's part of what, like, the main results were not as great, or the performance were not up to how the middle of the season was. I would say the last thing is that every team has a peak, and hopefully that City 2 didn't hit the peak yet. It was just that all these changes have been affecting that. But at the same time, it could be that they're now in a little descent of performance, and hopefully they can pick up again.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, we'll see. But with all that said about City 2, are you guys ready to jump back into the first team game, since we've got a win to celebrate and avoided the wooden spoon, as I think our buddy Edgar from from News Across the Galaxy has put in our chat a couple of times?
Yeah, of course. Hey,
So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
he was congratulating us already that we don't have the wooden spoon anymore, but
yeah, I mean, it doesn't save the season, but I guess, are we less embarrassed about the season as a whole because we don't have a spoon?
yeah. There's two
Uh-oh.
things. There's two things that
I
makes
see heads going different ways. Go ahead.
there's 2 things that makes it great. The first one is that we don't get that one, and the other one is that the other team in blue is
Okay.
70% of the season they were above us, and then all of a sudden they're. That's
Mhm.
it's a great feeling.
I'll take the
That's
SKC thing.
very consolation prize, but at the
Yeah.
same time, everybody's claiming, okay, so we're above them, but at the same time, when we faced them, we couldn't beat them, and we have been.
Oscar.
No, 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 and
Us.
we're just not gonna get there. This season has not been safe whatsoever.
No.
Let's
Oh no,
not
it's
go
not
and say
safe.
like anything saved anything. No, I
No.
think there's a consolation, happiness on all this is like yes, finishing above again. Because if I'm not wrong, we have finished above them every season since 2023 when we have our debut, obviously. So that's good, but at the same time, like if we call it a rivalry and we call it a rivals, we have to beat them in the field, not just on the stands. And on the match face to face, we have not been very successful lately. The only success was early on 2023, so we just gotta get better on that.
That's Italian.
But dude, even all that got washed away when they knocked us out of the playoffs. Like I have a hard
Correct.
time talking. Like I have a really hard time like talking smack to SKC because, I mean, at this point we both suck. So who sucks a little bit less? I don't take a lot of solace in the fact that we just suck a little bit less than they do.
Hey, we won 3-1. They lost 3-0. And guess what? There's a certain player, Mark Hennig. He remembered. He knew what the assignment was, and he went and got a brace.
Yeah, and it's sad he now
Hey,
has as
he's
many
my
goals
boy,
as
man.
Marcel Harder and
I've
John
been
Klaus.
following him since he was in college, and when we had him, I was very happy, and I knew he was a good player. It's just like we needed to have some patience with a young player. Like he comes from the draft. Like he came from college career, come from the draft. Had I believe 6 months in Colorado. Then we picked him up. So like you're judging a very young player for the first 6, 7 to 9 months of their professional career, and there was already so much judging into him. And now look, like second year with more experience, knowing more the league, how the league is play. I mean, he has been performing day in and day out, and also he is participating and scoring and assisting. So like,
He has the right system.
Misjudge.
Bingo, Mo. He fits what Minnesota does. But I mean, I think that's the sad part is, and here's one thing I will say. He has as many goals now as Hartl and Klaus. He's got 9 now after the weekend. The thing that I struggle with is everyone says, oh, St. Louis missed a talent. We misevaluated. We misjudged. I think there could be truth to that. But at the same time, I don't know that he fits us like he fits in Minnesota. Maybe he does. Maybe we misjudged him and misevaluated his talent when we traded him. But I don't think you can say it's a one-to-one thing that just because he's been successful in Minnesota that he would have been successful here. And it's only one season. He's got to do it again next year for me to really feel like, okay, we really missed the bus on that.
Yeah, and I think for me, when it comes to a player doing better in another team, that's not necessarily because that player is bad. That's why I always defend certain players. When they go and say, "Oh, this person is horrible," "Oh, this person sucks," it's like, yeah, but different club, different situations.
Yourself up there. I had to
You
do it
play 'em
right
differently. That's what happens.
Oh goodness.
And we can see a whole bunch of players from across the pond to here that leave a club and then the same season are playing exceptionally well. So I guess we didn't want to talk about a player that's gone already, but I think it's just one of those things where I guess we always go back to what could have happened. And I know some people at Minnesota at this moment that just got picked up and they're picking up young players. They're hungry players and they're runners. Mamadou Dieng, that was from the USL that they just picked up. I've talked to him quite a few times, and that environment is different than what we have.
Yeah. Well, they just sold, was it Taniel Lawuche to, was it Villarreal he went
Yeah,
to? I think?
they're picking. I don't
They have
know.
a good scouting
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
team.
That
how
might
they're
work.
They
doing, but
definitely have a good scouting team that they're finding
James.
raw talent and polishing them and then
Yeah.
sending them out. But I mean,
Oh.
it just like just to retouch of Mark Hennig is that even the system fits. But we also like when we were playing offensive wide games
Mm-hmm.
with him, he was being effective. The issue was in the defensive part. But if you notice, Minnesota doesn't have him as a defender side of things. Like that's why they play with three on the back because those three create that safeguard when their their fullbacks go up or the wingers go up. So I remember when he scored a goal with City was also a header, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it just tells you what type of strengths he has, and he just have exploded this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's good that he remembered that it was Casey and that he needed to do the assignment
He did.
and enjoy that for sure.
Hey,
Um,
as long as we send players and then they
Yeah.
can destroy our opponent or the people that we're supposed to be rival, then we can just sprinkle a whole bunch of our players across the league.
and
Maybe
then
it
they
will
will
help
always
us
be
one day.
So, so,
they'll be last every time. Then
so,
Hey,
so that's what United did with Garnacho then, right?
uh, no, not really, because he's doing pretty decent at this moment
Yeah, I
at
know.
Chelsea.
I
Much
know.
United does the opposite.
Yeah,
Instead of
we're
sending their
against it.
players to help him win, they send them away, and then they
Yeah,
become better player. Because there's
that's
one
fair.
in Barcelona that's also doing well.
We're not talking about Rashford.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to look in my closet at the Rashford kit.
or or,
Uh,
or
what?
Sancho or
Do you want to keep going?
All right, all right. So
No, no, really,
speaking of guys who understood the assignment, we
Or
had two guys in
Nana?
the starting 11 for City and Austin that understood their assignment that hadn't played in a while, guys. No, in all seriousness though, yeah, no. Thomas Totland, his first start since July.
Who?
Alfredo Morales, his first start since August. United's a mess, but City though.
Totland was here? What?
Totland exists.
Oh my
Critchley said in midweek he'd have a feature, and he started. He came in at so that starting just at the with the lineup real quickly, and we'll jump into the conversation. Of course, Roman Berkey's in goal. The last run out of the Confluence kit, maybe his second to last game in goal for City. We'll see. The defense in front of him from left to right. Conrad Vollum moving over to the left. Hopefully, the center back pairing of the future in Falou Fall and Henry Kessler. Thomas Totland back in on the right. A really strong defensive midfielded pivot with Morales and Durkin. Then you have Pompeu, Hartle, and Sangbin in the midfield with Klaus up top. So, yes, Totland's first start since July, and Morales back into the starting 11 for the first time since the end of August. And you could argue, as Charlie did, both of them made big impacts.
Yeah, it was the game of like the silent players having their best game to date. And I think sometimes the defensive midfielders usually don't get as much credit when they do their job right. They usually get exposed and screamed at when they do it wrong. So definitely agree that Durkin and Morales kind of get their flowers because they kept up with their assignments.
well, I thought Morales was one of the worst sixes in the league.
Clearly, that did
I'm
not come from us.
So we've been saying for weeks since Nashville, we didn't understand exactly why Morales hasn't started more. I know Leuven's been back, but I've even made the case, and I think you guys have too, at times for Morales over Durkin because of what he can do defensively to settle a game down. And I was happy to see him back in the 11 for this game. With
Yeah,
espe-
you know, one good thing like seeing this was that with the absence of Lewin, it was that those two pair up kind of well. Like they were both like solid together. And if I recall correctly, I didn't see Durkin going out up crazy like he normally does. Like I think like having Morales sit back help him to be more controlling his runs, controlling his movements, and like creating more stability. I don't know if Morales was telling him all the time, like, "Nope, stay here. Nope, stay here."
Well,
but if it did, like, it's something that worked out well. So
yeah, I think maybe it was one of those things where we all know that Austin also is not a team that sits back a lot more, so they are not really that aggressive going up. So I think just having Morales and Durkin, it's two technically CDM like players, so they know their assignment was we're not going to create as many chances. Our job is to keep it to a clean sheet or close to it.
Wow.
And I think that kind of made two defensive players versus one defensive and one offensive player.
And so we'll get into this with these two. So this is their heat map, their combined heat map, and look where they're at. They're in the middle of the pitch, where you expect a center midfielder to be. And it helped with rest defense because it allowed people to clog space. You didn't see Bukhari making big runs, outside of the first 15 minutes. They really did a good job of clogging those passing lanes and making it difficult for Austin to move the ball. Like, yeah, Austin could get down into the final third, but they weren't getting into the box a lot when they did.
Yeah, that was I guess, the assignment.
Well, I mean, how long have we talked about the idea of like pushing all of we push our fullbacks up, Tots and Volum push up, and we've just wanted somebody to sit back in that middle space to actually complement and add kind of a third center back in a way, right? Between Fallu and Kessler, or if it's Baumgartel and Kessler, or whatever that combination is, how much that can give us more strength and stability. And it also helps us play out of the back more effectively too, which we did really, really well in this game, I thought.
Yeah, and we stopped doing all these lateral passes to death, which kind of helped us move forward faster and not the teams settle and wait for us to be done with our city tiki taka from the back.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, I like the game because I mean, you see the result, you see kind of like a little bit the stats, and you say, okay, well, City play well or such. But I do want to pump the brakes. I know everybody is like, oh, we're doing great like the last games and such and such and such, but I want to pump the brakes, especially on this game, because I don't think Austin created anything to be concerned about. Um, I don't think Austin was anything special to beat. Um,
Playoff team.
but that's the thing, because it just, yes, they are there because they're a scrappy team that has won games when they need it, and they haven't normally conceded that many goals at home. That's what has been their strength. So yes, it's something surprising that we went and scored 3 goals in Austin, where the last time that they got scored three, I think it was San Diego and down in April or something. But it's still, I don't think like it was this magnificent performance from City. I think it was just a good organized game where they found the correct time and spaces to score. And I mean, it was, to be honest, it was first of all brilliant from Hartel on the first shot, and then on the second one, like Mo said, like it was just like an individual brightness of how turning and finding the space, and how he put it with the outside part of the foot on the corner of the on the side of the net, basically. But after that, I don't think there was much. So it's not like you think, oh yeah, City's playing amazing, City's playing this and that. I just don't think it was. It was a game that it was just meh. for both teams, and then just you found the right spots. I told my wife when we were watching the first half, I was like, man, this game's boring. Because the first 20 minutes were boring.
Well,
That's
go
Austin's
ahead,
job is to make it boring because he'll be happy to win 1-0. That's and that's how they beat us at home too. If you saw, they gave us majority of the possession. It's just that we were not clinical enough to finish, and then it happened that it pretty much dropped on its side. Didn't they win 1-0, right?
Yeah, they won 1-0,
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
with a hit out of the box, and they had a deflection in it.
Right. See, so I think it was just the point where, and I think he also did that at Dallas when his teams he was happy to just win 1-0. So I think it was just the luck that they had at City Park that we were not able to convert 2 goals, and then this time when we beat them at home, which we pretty much kind of took their day home and turned it red because we've won quite a few games there, and
Yeah,
including the first one.
Yeah, we're 4-1-1 against Austin, and I don't think we've
That's
lost.
the other thing I was gonna mention for sure is that you have those teams that you are like more susceptible to win and lose, and I think the matchup between Austin and City has always been more towards our end, like to
Yep.
win and to get the points than Austin. I mean, obviously they beat us at home with that ricochet, and we actually play a little bit better than them that game. And so I just think like some people are giving too much credit to this game, like saying like, oh, we're getting better, we're back, we're such and such. It's like I don't think we're any kind back. Not not
So
because I mentioned it before. So okay, so we won 3 away games, but
right,
who we beat? We beat
okay,
Montreal, that is one of the worst, or it was at that point the worst home team play for the league, right?
yeah,
Then we beat San Jose, that it goes in the same spot at Austin. San Jose struggles to play City. We have beat them every single time we play them.
we have, but both San Jose and Austin are playoff teams. So does that that doesn't bear
That
any
tells you that
weight
the
or
West
anything?
sucks.
Okay.
And it's true. And if you see different, if you watch Apple TV and their wrap ups they all say that the East is a very competitive conference, and the West has 4 teams that they're very competitive. The rest are meh.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think that's absolutely fair because I mean, the East has 3 or 4 teams that are battling mid 50s or 60s, 60 points. I think out of the West, only teams that are near that are like Vancouver and San Diego.
And
There's probably one more
LAFC.
up there, and LAFC, but I'm not talking about them. I'm still sore over that. No,
But
go ahead.
Why
like
you're
Daniel,
sore?
but
I
like
thought we were back just because.
I didn't say we were back. I will say I think there's progress, but we're not back. And if we're back, who gives a damn? Because it's too damn late in the season to be
So,
back.
but Jeremy, tell me
I
how
think we were
you
never
say
there
you
to
will say
begin with.
there's progress. This is where my point was, because
Okay.
how you would say there's progress when you beat 2 weak teams away, then
Okay.
you get your ass handed at home by a good team,
Not a good. They're
Well,
a great team.
a
right.
great
So
team,
They're
but you
just
get your ass handed, and then you go and beat Austin, and just because you beat Austin, then like, oh, there's progress, and like Critchley needs to sign right now, and give him a house and a mansion and everything, and like,
who are you talking to?
yeah.
Because
please,
So
I'm
that
not
was going
near
to
that
be my
camp at
question. Is
all.
like, who is he talking to?
Where this? I mean, granted, I've seen some extreme reactions. I don't think you're wrong. I'm not in that camp though. I'm not living in that house. I don't live in Fantasyland. I do live in the world where City's won 3 of the last 5 games. However, if you go longer sample size, we've won 3 of the last 5, But before that, we only won 1 of 5. So we've won 4 of 10. So as a whole, like, my point is, I think for a team that has been so just bad away, that we see, 1, we're winning on the road. That shows progress. 2, I think there's belief, and I do subscribe to the idea that there is belief that you can take something positive out of, 1, beating the teams you're supposed to beat, Montreal. I do think you can be, yes, do we fit systematically? Are we a good counter to San Jose and Austin? Yeah, sure. We systematically are a good counter to their product, but just because that happens doesn't mean you win the game. So you still have to go out and win. And I do think for this game, I mean, it was the 3rd time we've had more than 20 shots in a game under Critchley. It's the 6th time we've had more than 2 expected goals against with Critchley. We had 17 shots in the box against Critchley. The high press worked. We had 1 high press turnover lead directly to a goal. Another one doesn't count because it's out of that range, but that's how the Klaus Celio link up started on the left-hand side too. So I think that's why people are saying there's progress. Is it still enough for me to say Critch is the guy? No, but you've taken 20 points from 18 games, maybe, and compared to 11 points in 15. There's a little bit of progress, you have to say, right? Or no?
Maybe.
I mean, look,
so yes, there is something there, right? But also look at the calendar, and I know what Mo is gonna say. You play the teams you have to play, but look at the beginning of the calendar. Look at the beginning of the calendar. We play San Diego twice.
Yeah.
We play Seattle twice.
Mm-hmm.
We play Vancouver once. We play, and when they were hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not that they're not hot right now, but when they were like extremely hot.
Yeah.
And we play LA once, I believe.
Yeah.
Under Olaf.
We can make, look, let's just make this even simpler. You want to praise for the games that you had against Montreal, San Jose, and Austin. Let's make it even simpler. You dropped points against teams you should have beat in Houston and Dallas. In fact, you drew against a 10-man Dallas when they were 10 men down for like 75 minutes of that game. So
then you got your ass handed at Dallas.
Yeah. So if you want to praise and say, yeah, Critchley did great in these 3 games, you can. And yes, Nashville's another one he can hang his hat on. But there have also been enough bad performances against teams that you should have beat and enough points dropped that still, to me, raise questions. I mean, we've dropped under David Critchley. We have dropped. Give me just a second. We have dropped 16 points from winning positions against David Critchley. That's more than Olaf dropped. I'm just saying, if you want to compare, it's true. It's true. Statistically, it is true.
And look at the calendar and see the teams you were playing, because at the beginning of the year, you play the ones that are on the top 4 or top 5 of your West.
So here you go. So I'll just run through them. We played San Jose at home, so under Critchley. San Jose at home, win. Portland away, loss. Galaxy away, loss, dropping points. We also dropped points against Portland away. We had Orlando at home. We lost that game from a winning position. Or a drawing position, rather. Houston away, loss. RSL away, loss. Portland at home, win. Dallas away, loss. Minnesota at home. Again, that's a loss and points dropped from a winning position. Nashville came to town. We beat them. We went to Chicago and lost 3 points from a winning position in that game. Vancouver, we went to Vancouver. Late shenanigans on the penalty to Mueller, sure, but we lost 3 points from a winning position in that game. We came back home. We lost to Houston at home. We went to Dallas, or we then played Dallas, who dropped a man for 15 minutes or 75 minutes rather. Drew them at home. Then we get to Montreal, the win. San Jose, a win. LAFC, butt whooping, and Austin away, win. So, there are some playoff teams in there, but what you've got San Jose fringe, LA fringe, or no, LA Galaxy are a wooden spoon team. RSL, I think they're in the playoffs. Dallas is outside. Minnesota's a playoff team. I don't know, but I get your point, Oscar. But that's who we played. It's under Critch.
So one thing, because I know Oscar is burning to hear what I have to say about this. But one side that I look at the same time is that the players, when they were with Olaf, they look like zombies. They look like players that were completely lost out of their positions. They knew nothing of what they were supposed to do. The coaches were still pretty much sending subliminal message to say that they all are not the players that he wants to play, right?
Mhm.
But then all of a sudden, we have the players are actually kind of feeling themselves a little bit better. You have literally our best player or the second best player saying that he's feeling more confident and more himself with the current coach we have, and then he's performing like we expect him to perform. We're scoring more goals. It's becoming a little bit.
Mhm.
I hate to say the game is becoming more entertaining because for me it's not just being entertaining, but at least when the game starts, we have maybe a little bit of we can win this until the whistle is blown. But it looks like the mentality that we were talking all season long so far, the mentality now versus before, it is a complete different um, environment. Or you can see it by the players. You kind of feel there's some type of belief, even though it's late on it. But it looks like maybe there was that relationship that kind of built out without throughout the time. That's making because did we ever heard Hartel or any other player says I feel great with X coach? No one has spoken that well about any other coaches, right?
I
I mean, they
think
like
last year
Hackworth.
there were some comments with Hackworth that they were finding their place and way like
Yeah,
being fluid with it.
yeah.
But I mean that's a good pro. Like I'll definitely give you that, Mo. That's a good pro from coming from Olive to what we have right now. There's definitely more happiness under play. There's more um, freedom to express themselves on the field, knowing like they can do and try to do whatever they like to do instead of like forced to do tactic movements and anything like that. So yes, I definitely give that to Critchley. I'll give him the same thing of like being more offensive and like creating shots, creating options. That like Jeremy was mentioning that
Mhm.
this game was won with 20 shots. Like yes, I'll give you all those. I still don't think it's enough to have next year, and if it continues to be like that, and still it's not gonna be enough to like be a competitive team, because we still struggle with the great teams and the decent teams and the like. I don't know. Just I keep going back to the game against Orlando and the game against LAFC. That they're like the two big contenders that we had in that time frame. Both of them did whatever they want with Critchley.
Yeah.
Because
I think for me those
Orlando was a 4-2, but it could have been just a 6-0 Orlando if they didn't step off the gas.
Mhm.
yeah, I think we should almost not compare ourselves to like the top tier because Orlando has always performed well in MLS and LAFC is LAFC. I think we should be almost to kind of look at our the middle of the table of how those performances happen because
But do we want to be that
at,
team?
at this
Well,
moment, if you look at the very top, the teams we're talking at the very top are well spent or well established team.
Well, I
so
kind of agree, but do we want to set up goal to just be to the middle of the table? I don't think
I
I
that's a
did
way
to
to
be
look at it.
realistic.
all right. So here's what I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the season. So to me, Oscar, I hear what you're saying, and yes, I agree. Long term, yeah, my long term aspirations are year in, year out, be competing for the cup, the
Right.
shield. I want the real trophies. I don't want just make believe Mickey Mouse, whatever wooden spoon avoider. We finish above SKC. Woo! No, I want real hardware. But I do think to your point, I think right now that's where we should be settling. I think the goal, if you go back to the beginning of the season, Carolyn Kindle said, we're a playoff team. We're not, our goal isn't to win MLS Cup. Our goal, even though that should be, I think seeing where the roster was and understanding the disparities and gaps that we still needed to fill. And I will say, regardless of who we may or may not talk to, Mo, I don't think we're in the top 4. I don't think we can beat LAFC. Maybe we can I think we can give Minnesota a run, but I don't think that is going to happen night in and night out. So I do think the tier of where we should be right now, or trying to be, is right where Austin is, 6th, Portland 7th, like comfortably in the playoffs. That's where I think we should be aspiring to be.
And those are not bad, right?
No.
The Portland, I think.
Hey, Portland has one of the worst seasons I've ever seen.
But I think
For
we're
them.
almost to the point where we should be in the spot where we're battling to get into the playoff spot. So that way, at least we have something that we look towards versus saying we have to be a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
But also at the same time, a lot of the teams that are saying they want to be a playoff team, they are spending like it as well. I think we surprised a lot of people, the first season, and then the second, you get scouted. Everybody started to learn who and where, how you can do it. But we almost never change. We changed the wrong way. We went backward instead of forward. And now the teams, the MLS 3.0, whichever you want to call it, the teams, even the one in the Midwest that you don't assume will spend a lot of money, are actually spending a lot of money. So we're almost doing the whole MLS 1.0 spending versus everybody else is on the 3.0. Because Cincinnati is spending, Minnesota is spending, LAFC, like they're all pulling names that we're almost all familiar with. And I think that's where the biggest change is because now we got found out. But the other teams are not just resting, they want to all improve. That's why we're starting to see owners that says MLS is not there yet and we have to do more to be better league. And that means spending maybe a little bit of money.
Well, listen, so talking about the spending money, and it didn't have to be that big, but if you were spending correctly, and this is a dig to Sporting KC, how bad you have to be that you have Jovelich in your squad, and he's one of the top scorers on the league.
Yeah.
And you're still horrible. So I just want to imagine if we would have tried to get Jovelich at the beginning of the season when he was available, what we could have done with. Would it be that
different.
horrible still, or would have? Because you add in what 15 goals, 12 goals, something like that he has. So that's something that, for me, I don't understand what the team was doing, how they were recurring, how we always blame it on, they're not gonna come to St. Louis, but look, he changed LA to Sporting KC.
Yeah, he didn't have much of a choice,
but he went Midwest, like he didn't try to find something else. So
yeah, that excuse does
then-
not work. They don't want to come in the
it
Midwest.
doesn't work. No, you need to find the players and give him a promising salary, give him a promising project, and then that will come.
Oh yeah,
that will come. My other thing, and it was this question of how you're setting up your hopes and saying like, let's be 6, 7 next year, right? So I'll ask you this, and this is a very famous thing in soccer. What happens normally to a team that makes their game plan to tie. So I don't know if that makes sense, Mo.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
normally happens to a coach that says, I'm going to go out and tie the game? What
They pretty
happens?
much lose badly.
They must lose, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to put it on the next stage now. Why would us set up our goal to be a 6, 7, 8 team for next year? What will happen to us? Because that's what we did this year. Caroline didn't say we're going to be first, second, and third on the West, right? She said we will be a playoff contender. Guess what? We set up our bar very low this year, and look where we are.
I think saying we're a playoff team is not setting the bar
I
low.
think it's I think it's low. There's 9 teams that go through the playoff.
Yeah. That's American sports. I think making the playoffs is like a
It's a low.
level. Uh, it's like saying the EPL teams that said they want to be in the top 6 so they can make it to the Champions League. Does that mean that they set the bar low because they say that they didn't say they want to win? See, there's other leagues where they go and says, "Hey, you know what? We know we cannot beat
The top 4.
yeah, we cannot beat City, we cannot beat Liverpool, we cannot beat Arsenal." So they all of a sudden is like, "Oh, I want to be in the top 4 so I can make it to Champions League," because they know they cannot win the league. Does that set the bar low?
Depends on. I just don't see it that way though.
Yeah.
But
So I think, but you're right. But
yeah, but at the same time, like I would like. I mean, I know teams are realistic, and like if you put it that way, let's say like Brentford is not gonna say we're gonna win the league, but everybody starts with the hope of winning the league. Like if you're there to not compete, then why you're there?
yeah, they can say we will. Our goal is to win the MLS Cup, but
I would say be third or fourth. Like set your goal to say we're not gonna be the best in the West again, at least for next year. Like I mean, we might be in the future, and things will happen. But if you say we're gonna be third or fourth, that means you gotta be at least 2 of the big guys,
yeah,
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you fail doing that, you still don't feel that bad, but you're still competitive, having your goal set that high. But if you just say like, oh, I'm just gonna be in the 6th place, I'm not gonna beat the big guys, I'm not, and one of the random teams are gonna beat me too, then it just happens what it happened this year. Everybody
well,
beat the crap out of you, and you just out of the way.
uh,
And think about it. This year, also LA Galaxy is not on top.
yeah, that's a whole another discussion.
So I did just go through and look at the roster, and this is based on current standings in the table. So this isn't like where they were when we played them, because I can't do that on the fly. If I look at what Critchley has done against teams in the top 5 of respective conferences that we've played right now, 0-0 and 3. We have lost all 3 games against top 5 teams that we've played, whether they were in the East or the West. Teams that are 5th through 10th in their respective conferences, we are 3 wins, 1 draw, and 5 losses. So we are 10 points out of 27 points, if my math is right on that. And then our other 3 wins, we're 3, 1, and 2 against non-playoff teams. So we're still not beating everybody we're supposed to beat. We're not getting those. We haven't consistently gotten those wins. But it seems like we're sort of trying to punch, and we've taken at least a point in almost half of the games against the teams that I think Mo and I were talking about being competitive with, those kind of 5 through 10 spots, right? Does that sound right, Mo, or did I misunderstand our conversation?
That's pretty much, I guess, the way I see it, especially because if we look at the teams that are above us,
Mm-hmm.
they're spending like big time.
Yeah.
Right. So it looks like almost the top 4, I guess. are almost like a wash unless we have our exceptional day to happen. But the realistic is like, the Austin, the Portland that may have beat us, but we also beat them. Those are the work that we have to finish in order to at least stay comfortable enough that it will depend on City playing to make it to the playoffs versus us be completely out and then depend on another team to make it to the playoffs. So if we say 8 and then all of a sudden we find ourselves in 4 or 5, we did our job.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that presents it as a bigger win to the fans too, because if you overachieve, the fans are going to be happier, right? Potentially, is that I mean, that's how I think
Yeah,
about it. Is if
but
you set my expectations right,
and you made the playoffs, so that means you 1 through 9.
yeah.
So if you
Well,
make it
then
to
say
5,
next year that we're gonna win the wooden spoon, and then you overachieve.
yeah, the whole town will burn. Come on.
So no, I mean, okay, but so hang on. Let me counter your argument though, because I'm going to play devil's advocate because you mentioned like,
Oh, Jeremy.
no, listen, all the teams above us spend more than us or spend crazy money.
Uh-oh.
LA Galaxy are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're the 5th highest team in terms of guaranteed compensation. They outspent LAFC this year, and they're wooden spoon winners potentially.
Then they
San
have
Diego.
Ricky
I'm gonna
Puig.
counter that very quickly though.
Okay, Ricky Puig is hurt.
But that's one. But that's the
Okay.
same. So they have not added more player based on the championship they won last year, right? But
Right.
they got decimated this year because of all the players, the outgoing players.
That's fair. That's why Jovic is in Kansas
Yeah.
City.
So that's why he's there, because they want to make it fair league. But if these guys were still there, I'm sure Jovic and all that would have outweighed why Ricky Puig is out.
Okay.
And if Penn Steel was not injured for a lot of that time, that would have been different. Like they've been so much changes they've made to LA Galaxy that this season is what it is.
Okay.
But if that same team from last year was intact, we will be the one talking wooden spoon.
Okay. So, all right. So,
Well,
San
DC
Diego.
would, but
Or, well,
So
we will be close to battle with
all
them.
right. So is $4 million that big of a difference? So City's guaranteed expenditure is $18.1 million. LAFC and LA Galaxy are around 22.5, 22.8. So it's a $4 million difference in spending.
Ricky Puig.
Okay.
That's
fine. All right. Fine. So we okay. So all right. So we outspent Seattle. We're just about even with Seattle. We're talking pennies.
The same. Seattle is a dynasty team that they don't have to spend crazy money to still be competitive.
All right. Somehow
because they have a coach that has experience.
Okay.
They have a system that know how,
and they have players that are international players.
Okay. What about Austin? What about Austin and Minnesota? We outspent them too.
They spend their money wise. They got a coach that was experienced in the MLS, and on top of that, most of their players that are current are still there. And that the LAFC guy they added to Austin. I will have an answer to everything, Jeremy.
Okay. All right. Okay.
This is where I was gonna go to before you move on this.
Yeah.
Is that tells you that even when you spend money, you have to spend it right and not just open the checkbook and bring whatever you want. It's not that. It's not what the price of the player is. It's like what type of quality and how you're supplementing your team with that player. Okay. And we did. I'm sorry to whoever wants to listen to this, but we did a terrible job recruiting since year 2. Nothing complemented the team. Everything was a different piece that it will not engage with the team that it was set up. Last year was different, and when finally we got 3 players that they were kind of like going into it, we started with a new coach that it was a completely opposite turn. Then we did the same thing in this transfer window until they start gearing with the other coach. So there's not enough talent, or there's not. Let's not put it that way. There is some talent, but it doesn't complement as a team to make a full um fluid team in my opinion. And obviously we need a superstar. Doesn't have to be a superstar named whatever. We need a superstar coming from like, hey, a young Argentinian that is promised to be amazing, a Brazilian that is promised to be amazing, a Colombian that I don't want to go to Europe because we don't have good examples in Europe that they're coming this way. But it could happen. Like if you look at the Nashville forward, like his from England, so like there is things, but you have to find those. Not the sorry to say this, but it's just not the Bundesliga two players, not the Norwegian leagues, not the Finland leagues, not those.
Okay, no, that's fair. I think to your point, the biggest indicator of that right now, and I hate to use it because it might rub some people the wrong way. The like second least spending team this season on guaranteed salary in MLS, Bradley Carnell's Philadelphia Union, and they just won the Supporters Shield.
Yeah, but those are all MLS 1.0 teams. They all have like their academies are killers. They have established players to begin with. I think us as City fans, it looks like we're almost comparing ourselves to the big dogs and says this is what we should be doing when their structure to begin with have always have been different. Most of those teams did not spend $500 million to be in the league. They have decades to establish themselves. Like it looks like it just compounds of you starting a new team. You won't have it perfect in the first time. It's always a test and trial, right? Someone will work, someone wouldn't, someone will. Like Philadelphia, don't tell me that Carnell, even though, he's our guy and everything, he went into a place that was well run to begin with, right? He just sprinkles his skills to Philadelphia, and that's how he ran it. And yes, that says, oh, maybe St. Louis missed out on him, but who knows? And that's the same thing with, you mentioned Seattle. It's the same thing, right? They have players that play for Seattle at this moment that started in the academy that's still playing for them. We're still even trying to figure out which of our academy kids will make it to the first team, and it's year 3, and we're comparing to teams that are in year 30. It's going to be a very long soccer career in St. Louis if we're comparing ourselves, comparing a 17-year-old prodigy to a 28-year-old prodigy and says, why can't you do this? Like, well, we're crawling to a point, but we have to make to the
I mean,
playoffs.
It's crawling good
one
enough.
thing like that Philly team has, so obviously it has a huge mix of like younger players coming from the academies or like getting like recruit well that they're promising, but also I think they have a good experienced veterans in the squad that even if they don't take part of the field, they are bringing a lot to the squad itself. Like, and I was watching yesterday the roundup on Apple TV, and they interview Alejandro Bedoya, and he's a 30-year-old player that I believe has never won the MLS Cup. He has won Super Shields before, I believe, but not the MLS Cup. And one of the things he said is like, "Hey, like this is great and all that, but I won the cup. I really, really won the cup." And like he said it with such a like meaningful voice, like this is what we won. This is what we I have been trying to tell my team that this is what we need to go get. And I don't think, for example, St. Louis has anybody that has that mentality and
Or have
has that
come close to it.
experience.
Yeah.
There's not even experience. And I mean, there's experience coming from Berkey, for example, but it's not the same experience that Alejandro Bedoya has in MLS.
True.
Like, Alejandro Bedoya is a way bigger player in MLS history than what Berkey is because it's MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned that part where it's how you call it. Like it almost, and I think I may have mentioned it before in the first in few episodes where the misfit, the MLS misfit that we had the first season that had a
Mhm.
point to prove to the MLS because you were transferred from your current team to a brand new team because said you were expendable to now you can see a little bit of that difference, right? Because a little bit more established players. Like you say, he mentioned he wants to win that cup.
Mm-hmm.
You always have that chip on your shoulder that says, you disregarded me. Now this is what I want. And maybe that's where some of the younger players maybe have that hunger because they want to prove themselves. But I don't know, Klaus is still a young prodigy, like Ryan said. But other
I was
than
like,
that,
that was not me.
no, Ryan said,
What I
oh,
mean, they were saying that
sorry,
I
Dan.
said something. I was like,
Sorry,
that was not me.
Dan said that we have a 28-year-old prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the part where maybe if everybody was running like Klaus, maybe it would have been a different discussion. Maybe.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm just kind of looking at what Union have done in the transfer market. I mean, they don't go out and spend a huge amount either. Because yeah, you mentioned the guys they've brought in or developed. I mean, the one guy that stuck out a lot this year was Frankie Westfield. He was really good against us when we played against Philly early in the season. They don't have a lot of other young guys that I'm seeing called out from Union too, at least not according to Transfermarkt. Admittedly, don't follow the Union closely, but I mean, they buy smart they've also bought smart, like bringing in Danley Jean-Jacques, Bruno Damiani. Obviously, we know they brought in Indy, right? Like they bring in squad guys that fill out holes. They had Ian Glavinovich for a little while too. So it just things that supplement the team in a smart way. They don't have an issue where your supplemental roster is like 8 defenders, unlike a team that I know.
So yes,
Which
I
one?
think this is just
I'll give you a clue. It's on my screen.
The Cardinals?
who? I don't know who
The
you're
No
talking.
Go Patrol? Which one is that?
Oh,
Hey, I came on a free transfer. That's all I'm saying.
No, good. Like, I mean, I'm lazy to put it on a share screen, but like if you look at the season stats, like the last one that Fatma
Yeah.
puts on. So if you look at there, every single player except the goalkeeper has participated in a goal. Like he has even provided an assist or provided a goal. So that tells you like how full circle of a team is. Like they're all connected because they're all providing. If we look at ours, for example,
don't do it.
He's gonna do
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So from the last 11 that they started, they do. Let's say everybody has participated in goals and assists except Falu, Fall, and Berkey. But out of that, all the numbers are 1, 2, or 3, while the other ones had participated in like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean they've got 3 guys that have at least 10 goal contributions or more, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 guys who have at least 5 or more. City, I'd have to look at that, but I know City probably isn't that high considering our leading goal scorer is 9 on the season, and Hartle's probably think Hartle and Klaus are tied. So if I said that they have, so we have two guys with more than 10 goal contributions, but only 5 have more than 5, including Simon Betcher and Celio Pompeu.
Yeah, I think you guys probably will. But I think the goal contribution, the biggest thing that was missing is that how we were doing the lateral back and forth with our center back.
Mm-hmm.
That won't create much opportunities for you, right? So you're wasting as much time moving the ball left and right versus currently, if you watch, I guess I might sound like a fanboy or anything, but foul, if you watch how he progressed the ball faster up,
Mm-hmm.
that's starting to create more opportunities for us to create more chances versus our center back just doing a back and forth for God knows how much.
So Mo, it's funny you mentioned that. Just for the sake of conversation, I'm gonna put in the thing whenever you're ready to share it. It's the passing networks for our back line. So that is our entire back line. Their passing networks. I don't know if it can get a little bit bigger or not, but that is.
You gotta make it the
Steve,
main screen.
Yeah, if you can for just a second, just because I thought since we're talking about progression, and I know that's a little small, but Falou Fall is the second from the left, so you can really see his like how much more forward he seems to play the ball from a progressive standpoint. Like, yeah, you get Volum on the left and Tots on the right, but that's where we build through. But you can see just how much forward action is coming from Falou Fall. To your point.
Yeah,
I mean, compare what Kessler passes are like more sideways than the one, and it's funny because I think we had this kind of like little topic on our private chat earlier today that someone posted about like the passing of Falafel and that there was people complain that he misses a lot of passing and like he's terrible at passing and such, but I prefer a center back that looks forward first, and if he sees an opportunity, tries to take it to break the lines and try to make that pass, even if it gets incomplete. But it gets incomplete in the final third of the other side, or like passing half of the other side. Then a center back that never plays forward or never looks forward, and then makes still mistakes passing sideways. Anybody can play sideways. Trust me, a center back should be able to play it sideways with their eyes closed.
Yeah,
because they have so much time and space. Like you would hope that a professional center back can play their side passes because they're the safety passes.
Yeah, they're
But
safe.
you're gonna judge a player that is really trying to break the lines and he's more offensive minded on creating and penetrating passes for missing one or two or three or four, whatever it is, but he's still trying them and he's not getting shy about it.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
And if you think about it, though, when it good and it happens, it becomes a great pass. And so
it
maybe
creates a good play already because it's breaking normally two lines. It's not even breaking just one line. It's not breaking just the forward line. It's breaking this forward and the middle.
Yep. And there's Falou just by himself in a bigger view, and you can even see that blue pass is a key pass, like, and that's starting from just around midfield. So when you can see him being that impactful to step up and make those plays, that really keeps that to me is a key for this team because if you can get your center backs to play progressively, but also know when to step up and then make the right forward pass, you're not going to have Hartle dropping back 30 yards from his own goal and trying to be the main progressor of the ball. It's going to free up Durkin or Leuven, or in this case, Morales, to do things. You can get your wide players up forward in the attack and get overlapping runs and play more direct. Like, it really opens up a ton of potential. And I think Falou, I forget which page it was. It might have been Chat City Tactics that had, he's in the 75th percentile in G+ for passing right now.
so just imagine if we can add another component, maybe it's center back or right back, that can now create that many forward passes on the other side.
Mhm.
You know how terrible that be for the other the opponent to now they have to figure out now which way the ball is going to go. Because I'm sure their scouts now will know that on the left side, Falou will have a lot of progressing passes. But imagine if you can have it both ways.
Yeah.
Then that will unlock a lot more opportunities because now you have to guess or properly guesstimate which side to go
Where
to.
you're gonna put the pressure, yeah.
Right. So I think it's a good sample size to see on that side. Then so now we know that Kessler is like the safer center back, strong, fast, and much a bit faster. But now if we can add a third one, so it's going to be left center and right back, I think that will ease a little bit more. I think for me, knowing that the ball will be moving forward a lot faster versus 15 side passes before it goes forward. And at least the other teams will not be able to then get into their right formation to counter us, which has happened quite a few times.
Yep. And Falou Fall was the third most accurate passer according to FOTMob in that game. Just saying. He also got credited with a chance created and one pass into the final third. So he had a very good game from a distribution standpoint.
Not bad. And yes, it was not perfect, but it's getting close to a half decent team.
Yeah, and he did lead in defensive contributions with 12, so he was doing it. So the big thing is, and I had somebody on I forget if it was X or Blue Sky mentioned to me that like this was Falou Fall's coming out game of him coming out as and establishing himself as a potential guy to watch for next season because he was involved defensively, he was alert, he was covering when he needed to cover, he was able to step up and be aggressive when he needed to. We allow for a mistake here and there especially from a young guy, but nobody's ever going to be 100% of anything. So but it was a good game for Fall. And I do want to go back real quick to Charlie's point. I think Totland had a fantastic game. He was second in defensive contributions, only one less than Fall. He had the most touches in the entire game at 66. Credited with the most offensive chances created, led the team in interceptions, and was just really, really good as well on the right side. So no, it was just I don't know. It seemed to me that, and I think Oscar going all the way back. I think that's where, for me, the idea of calling it a complete performance in a way makes sense because the press worked. It wasn't always consistent, but it did work. We seemed to be able to move the ball. Now, did anything always come of it? No. And was the game the most entertaining? No. I'd argue the first the beginning and middle part of the second half was like I just want something to happen at that point. But it felt like overall a good performance because I didn't feel outside of the first, I think Time Bukhari got in behind Vollum once in the first 20 minutes. Outside of that, I didn't have a fear that Austin was going to counter us and come flying at us and that we were going to be caught out. I don't know why. It felt weirdly safe defensively to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, and that's where I think like I don't think Austin did much for the game.
No.
And one thing that we didn't mention that he obviously plays against Austin is that they were short rested and they also lost the final. So mentally, they were not a team that they were really ready to pounce back or like hungry for anything. I think they were just hit by that loss. That I mean, it means a lot for teams that they're not really competing to for so much, like losing the Open Cup. That gives prize money and it gives you a spot on the Conquer Champions and all that stuff. So I think that also play against that team. I mean, again, City did what he needed to do to win the game, and so be it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I was gonna say, you mentioned that people were saying follow, that was the game for him.
Mhm.
If you look at the score rates that he has had, and I'll disagree with people
Okay.
saying that this was the game. His first game against Nashville, he had almost the same rating. He had a 7.5 according to FOTMOB. This last game he had at 7.7. I think against Nashville he performed a lot better defensively, and that's what he needs to be doing. He's a center back. Then he had 2 games that he only played 30 so minutes, that they were not very good, but we know what happened on those games. But then you have a Dallas game with a rating of 8, and then a Montreal with an 8-2. So I don't think that the ratings, well, not the ratings, that this last game was the breakout. I think he's just been showing that every time he plays as an starting center back, he's always focused. He's always uh, doing his job and doing the coverages and distributing well. So he has good ratings. The only bad rating that he had was against LAFC with a 5.4, but I don't think it's because he performed bad. It's just because we got scored 3 times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
I
mean, in
think
that game,
there's
everybody's going to be low. Go ahead.
there's one thing though that looks like he will have to work on is his timing for headers. Because if you look, probably the goal from Austin was bad timing for his header, and I think there was a few other times where you may have seen where his jump was maybe a little mistimed,
Mm.
where he missed him, and he was the tallest player too in the game. So those type of headers probably shouldn't be
Oh.
missed. But
You're talking about the
Well,
goal?
Austin,
yeah,
I'll
it was
disagree
that was a
because
mistiming.
It
the goal
was.
from Austin is all Tottenham's fault.
Yeah, he wasn't. He just let
He got
Spartak,
out
or whatever that
muscle.
guy's name is.
Oh,
beat
just
him.
he
got
got
out
out muscles, yes, but I'm saying it was just maybe that a few of those timings that I think if he can manage those, then I will feel even better for corner kicks because, as you guys know, we have not been the greatest in
No.
corners. So I think him being able to time those headers properly will definitely remove a lot of that scariness of pretty much corners or free kicks or any
But
dead ball.
one of his strong suits, like, is it just not finding it? Is it not timing, or just not his strong suit? Because, I mean, yes, he can be tall, but at the same time, like, not all tall players are good at headers. I mean,
It looks like from previous headers, it looks like it's more of a timing
Mhm.
because we saw other clearance or other headers that were strong headers. So I'm wondering if it's just that because the first goal, for example, when he jumped and missed it when he's already 6 something, it's a little harder. So I think that was the only negative I say per se when it comes to follow.
You mentioned the set piece goal. That was the 11th set piece goal City's allowed this season. We're tied for fourth with the fourth most. Sporting Kansas City's allowed 16. Houston and Seattle have allowed 13. Montreal, Inter Miami, and Nashville have allowed 12. So the fewest have been allowed by Charlotte and New England at 5 apiece, and then the Union are second to last with 6 from set pieces. So we could shore up that set piece defense. It'd be kind of nice.
or we can score from set pieces too.
I mean, we just have, yeah, but that's what we need to do. I don't even, I
I
could
mean, I
tell
don't care
you.
if we can score 12 or 11 or whatever we have, but if we score 20 on set pieces, then that's fine.
I do care that
You,
we get scored 12, but
well, I mean, you do, but if you're gonna concede that many, at least be good in the offense side too.
sure.
I mean, that's fair. I need to see
Because
if I can. Go ahead.
I mean, I would say the number is very low because I remember like the first half of the season, I don't think we had one goal from set piece. I think the first goal from set piece this year was a free kick from Lewin, I believe.
Yeah. I'm looking right now to see if I can track down the stats this year because I know that number's not right.
I don't follow that much, but yeah.
But anyway, so no, I don't know. But I mean, either way, I still feel like it was a solid performance. Maybe it is a bit much to say that
No, we're back. We're back.
Yeah, I'm not saying
110%
that.
back. We're back.
At this point, I don't care that we're back because half this team will be gone next year. Just being honest about that.
Jack
but-
in the box.
Hey,
and
that's the
Harvey is
concerning part if they're actually if it's gonna be half of the team gone or it's not gonna be half of the team gone.
Well, okay, but they've
But that's
got
a
to have
question
turnover.
for next chat when we go into
Yeah.
the end of the season.
So I can't believe this is right. WhoScored.com says City has 10 goals from set pieces. That can't be right. There's no way that that's correct.
Is that PK count as a set piece?
No, because they've got penalties broke out separately, where they give City credit for 3 penalty goals, 1 own goal, 10 from set pieces, 5 from counterattacks, and 23 from open play. I have to go. I'd have to go back and look and see because I don't feel like that's accurate. I don't remember us scoring from that many corners. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't know. Overall, I mean, so here's the thing. Going and we can kind of jump back into Critch's
Sounds like
conversation.
it's 5. It looks like it's 5 of them, Ollie. From dead balls situation?
This is saying, according to WhoScored.com, if you go to the situational statistics, there's set pieces, set piece goals for, say, 10 for St. Louis City.
I think there's only 5.
Yeah.
Leuven against Seattle, Hartel versus Chicago Fire. Another one looks like against Chicago Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And the penalty, and then a penalty.
Yeah. Like I said, that's just WhoScored.com. Their data may be out of sync. So,
yeah,
I do want to give a shout to Durkin. Chris Durkin had a decent game. Led the team in passes into the final third. Or no, I'm sorry, Morales did. Yep. But Durkin had a solid game. 88% completed passes. Didn't have an assist, but Morales was very good, to Charlie's earlier point too. So I was a little shocked he didn't see a mention in Team of the Week or Team of the Match Day for his 2 assists because. I tell me a midfielder gets 2 assists and he doesn't end up with at least a shout on the bench.
Yeah, I need to see who
his
actually
name
made
is
it.
not Busquets or the Paul or
That's fair.
You know what? I don't care if those guys don't make that list. Just give us wins, and then I'm good with the rest.
Yeah,
I'll take wins.
that's fair. I mean that's the thing. So as we wrap up, I guess, or transition to other things, real quick, just mentioning Critchley again, 6-2-10 now under David Critchley. He's
Wake
got
up, Oscar.
20 points in 18 games.
I'm not falling asleep. I'm looking into something.
20 points in 18 games.
I was trying to find the stat.
Go ahead, find your stats. He will not match Hackworth in points. If we win against RSL, he will still be 1 point shy of Hackworth. So he won't be able to match Hackworth in points. He will have already matched or gotten close to matching Hackworth in goals. So here we go. I've got a real quick table. So here's your comparison, fellas, of your managers, starting with Carnell in 2024.
Our
Olaf,
manager?
the managers that we've had. So you can see here how he compares 1.1 points per game, 37% points percentages. He's equaled the goal tally that Hackworth had while actually allowing the exact same, interestingly enough. His numbers are very, very similar to Hack so far. But we're getting more touches in the box. I think that was a big one in this game too. We out-touched Austin in the box despite losing field tilt. So I don't know. I always think that this is interesting when you want to compare, because there were a lot of folks, and I was talking to Matt Baker about this on Twitter earlier. If you thought Hackworth should get the job in last year, those same people should probably think Critchley wants or should get this job now. And I understood the case for Hackworth. I would say I can understand the case for Critchley. Even if we win on the 18th, I'm not sold, because the conversation we had earlier, yes, we've had some good wins or solid wins, but there's still been enough bad losses mixed in that makes me not comfortable saying he's the guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's the guy. I think with Hack, I think the reaction was because we were still thinking of like, hey, we did a good year first. The first year. Oh, none taken. Soccer USA, you're good. I know you're teasing. First year we had something good, and then something derail. Cornell's out, then Hack were kind of like made it sound like he straight the things out and going back to like, oh, we're gonna be competitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it kind of makes sense. But saying no to Hack and then derailing again, you couldn't do or perform worse than what Olaf was. And then like matching what Hackworth did. I think he had a little bit. Does he have the same amount of games? I guess
It'll be close. Hackworth
Yeah.
will have managed like one or two, or I mean, sorry, Critch, I think, has managed one or two more by the time it's all said and done. Because Hackworth had 18 games and Critchley will have had 19.
Yeah. It just like I don't think it's the overwhelming change. It's just going. I mean, he came back to be a competitive or attractive soccer, but at the same time, um, didn't perform and didn't get the results that we needed to change the track of this year. And he had a little more chances to it,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. I think Hackworth was competitive until like 3 weeks before decision day.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when we got eliminated, but it was like at least tighter. I don't know. I just still think that we need a coach that has more experience
Mm-hmm.
in the MLS, um, or in general, and then obviously a sporting director that's gonna open up the markets and not just focus on just one market.
I think Hike may have had it a little bit easier though when it comes to team spirit and uh, play wise, because I think that was during his CD podcast thing where I think he mentioned that one of the things that he had to work on is to bring back, I guess, the spirit of players, and like us in French is joie de vivre. I don't know how you say that in English. Sort of their like enjoyment to play soccer.
Yeah.
Because I think it looks like he had to not only work on providing results, but also work on the players themselves to kind of, how you call it,
Well, he
The
had to change
locker
the whole
room.
mentality of the team. Like
Yes.
he talked about it in the City Voice not long ago that the team was afraid to attack. They like their whole mentality under Olaf was we score. Oscar.
Oh boy.
No, their whole mentality was you score and then you just stop and you play defense because you're afraid of letting up a goal or afraid of something and you don't keep attacking. So it's like he did have to they call it a learned habit, right? Or a learned act, or basically a learned habit, right? Because that's what you're conditioned to do. And he had to break that. And it feels like it took up until 2 or 3 games ago. Granted, you didn't see anything of that against LAFC, but
Different team.
different team. I will at least give you that.
I'm not saying it's all encompass. And
Yeah.
yes, he's a brand new coach, zero experience at a high level, not even USL, because that's the gap between. But I think on the business side of things, I'm also wondering if how do we find ourselves if, per God forbid, right, we have a new coach and they're still struggling? Are people going to ask, hey, now is this the wrong coach? And then we'll have to make the change again? Or do we promote who we have at home already and see how he's able to manage the team and build the project like everybody knows that it's a project? Or we're really ready to start from scratch again? Because we will be starting from scratch. If we have
Yeah.
a brand new SD, or if we have a brand new coach, or we have a brand new coach, we have a new SD, like which we have two current SD and a current coach that been with the club since day one, share almost the same mentality, the same play that City was built upon. Even if we get a coach that's MLS experience and all that, there's almost no guarantee just yet that we might not get another Olaf situation.
And that's the risk you're
But
going to run. Go ahead,
if you're
Oscar.
gonna go look in the second division Sweden market, then yeah, like we'll probably get a second Olaf
Oscar,
again.
it's
But
that market is closed.
so the thing is, I want an experienced coach, start from scratch, but something that is gonna build a project. I know that miraculously we are not gonna go and be amazing, but at least you want to see the progress that um San Jose, for example, like had a little bit. San Jose was the worst team last year, and like this one, most of the season until this last part of the season, they were up there. Like they were playing good, they were getting results. They just like for X or Y reason, obviously we don't follow them every week, but now they're struggling to make it into the playoff. But there was a big change. There was a big change in mentality. There was a big change in player roster, and there was obviously
Coach.
that coach.
Yeah.
That is a coach that you could argue that he has the most experience of all in the MLS.
Yeah, a
So,
legend, pretty much.
so that's kind of what I would like to see. It will be interesting to follow San Jose and see what they do next year with the same group. Plus, if I'm assuming they're gonna invest in some players and they're gonna try to keep adding to that project. So I think they're gonna be a competitor next year, something that is gonna bring that franchise a little bit higher in positions. So that's what I kind of want for City, like finding some who like that, and then bring some pieces. Obviously, we're talking like our squad is um in a rebuild stage. So it's the perfect time to just like get scrap all the things that you need to scrap, plus add a good coach, and go from there. And yes, there's a chance that things can go wrong. Things can start going south the way that they started on 2024 and 2025. I just don't foresee this franchise repeating the same thing that happened.
Mm.
Just not because it couldn't happen. It's just more because of whoever players are gonna stay, like whatever players are gonna stay in the franchise. They're not gonna let that happen again. That will be a third season in a row that
Mhm.
you're basically failing to start with the right foot. So I'm that's my thinking. I want something more solid. That yes, it's gonna be still a project, and we as a fan base we need to be get back to. You gotta be patient. You cannot be requesting a change of a coach after 3 games, 5 games. Now, at this point, like you have to realize that if things are not working, you can't just change it right away. You gotta give it a time. And I'll blame myself in that point too, because I was kind of like pulling the trigger the same thing like with Cornell in 24 and this year with Olaf. Um, with Olaf, I think everybody was right to be
Mhm.
requesting that change, but I think with Cornell we can debate now that maybe it was the wrong move to do. So
Watch Olaf is going to go win the Champions League somewhere. And then we're
If
like,
you do
what?
not, don't speak that into existence. So no, my God, the day that I mean, he was partying with Jack Grealish apparently, but
Yeah, so he knows the right people,
so
but
so I do want to frame the conversation about Critchley this way a little bit though. So because I think Mo, you've done a great job of talking about already like you call it the jeu de vivre or something like that,
joie
right?
de vivre.
Joie de vivre. Okay, I'm not French. I can fake it. Anyway,
you
I
did great,
tried.
Jeremy.
Give me points for
Good
trying. All
start.
right, I tried.
I give you points there.
I'll take a C. Anyway, so no, but my point is this: he came into not only that issue, but just kind of painting a picture of where City was. They were on 11 points through 15 games. To get to the where the playoff line is, it would have taken around 33, 34 points from the remaining 19 games that Critchley is going to have. He would have had to get 1.79 points per game. That is better than City's entire points per game was in the 2023 season that we all love and were in dreamland during. So I think this is to me is I want to recognize the task, how big of a task it was for Critch. I do want to give him flowers and say, look, I think you've done very well. I just don't think it's enough to say I want you to guide this team next year. The only way that I would say it that's okay, that's the direction they go, is if somehow internally they feel having a new sporting director and a new coach is too much and they want to have stability. You hire a new sporting director, you give Critchley a 1-year deal to see what he can do, and then if it doesn't work, then you give the new sporting director time to bring in his guy. And that would suck, but because you're not going to be able to turn the team over, but I still think this is a multiple window project anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm full of it.
unless
I don't know.
unless the sporting director says during their presentation or whoever they are, this says here are the my style of coaches that I want, and here's how you get them,
Mm-hmm.
and then you bring them like that. Because I think for me, the way I see it, almost a lot of it is if Hack is the sporting director,
Mm-hmm.
why the heck would he go elsewhere to look? Because
Right.
he was part of who he selected, and we all know that it was not just the Lutz thing, probably to have the current coaches that are in the entire city thing. So I think if it's a brand new sporting director, for me, it makes more sense for him or she to bring in who complete them more, right? Because you need your
Mm-hmm.
sporting director to be in hand with your coach. You cannot have those two butting heads because it will create only a disaster. So I think that's why I was saying if one stays, I would think the other, a 1-year contract to see, hey, we'll see how you do this season, while your sporting director is still, trying to find something else, or at least have a connection to a potential new coach. I think it's just all of the changes that we see so much at this moment is that if you bring a sporting director from the right and then your coach is from the left, and they're not really hey, this is the person I want to bring in, there will be that internal battle like we've heard in city sphere of maybe not everybody agreeing to what to do.
Yeah, makes sense.
I want. The only thing that I disagree with what Jeremy was saying, like if they're gonna keep Critch or whoever comes, this still needs to be more than 1 year.
Okay.
Like it's just you gotta be done with the hey, we're gonna give it a trial and see how it goes, because it goes the same way. Like if you fail or you start failing, if you only have 1 year on that, it's just like, well, it's easier to rip it off and change again
Mm-hmm.
and start over. And this can't really happen again. Like I think like whoever you bring, you have to make a plan that is a 2-3 year plan that you want to be successful in all 3 years, but that you're gonna evolve through those 3 years too. It's kind of like what it was the 5 year plan for Lutz, right? Like it was when he was brought in, his 5 year plan. This was his 5th year, and he didn't accomplish what he needed to accomplish in the 5th year, so that's why he's gone. So it's kind of like the same way that it should be with the next coach. It cannot be a year project. It cannot be something that you're planning to just be successful right away, and beat everybody. It's more of like, let's be competitive. Let's create a good, solid project from the beginning that is going to grow to a point that we're going to be very satisfied in 2, 3, or 5 years.
Yeah, they give him 5-year contract, but you still can get fired. Then the problem with those
Boy,
is then you have to still pay them for the next.
you got to pay.
You gotta pay them
That's
for
the
the
thing.
rest of the contract.
If you do only 1 year, it's easy to rip it off when you're doing a bad performance at the half of the season, because you only have to pay 6 months worth the contract.
But now the question: you said patience. Do you think St. Louis has patience?
Well, I mean, they're going to have some. If they really are open to the idea of this being a project, and to Oscar's point, and honestly, in my opinion as well, if you believe that this is a project, you have to commit to giving it time, which means you might not be as great as you want to be, as fast as you want to be. And that's just something you have to accept. And that's going to be that might be a hard sell for the common fan, because your real soccer people are going to understand it. And even probably some of the newer people are going to be willing to go through the growing pains with the new club. But I that's how I approach this. It's probably a 2-window minimum, maybe 3 process to get this team where you want it to be, in my mind. And because even through the winter, where I don't see us getting to the point of, maybe we'll be a 9 seed, maybe we'll be fighting for 8 or 9, but I don't know how much change you can reasonably do in a winter period. We all heard multiple times the challenges that come with getting top talent during a winter window, because it's in the middle of the European season. So
yeah, because you were looking at European season.
Yeah.
Go to South America. You'll find him.
Actually, that's a great question, Oscar. I think you follow the South American footy much more than I do, obviously. I think. Do they play? What is their calendar? Do they play same as Europe? Or are they?
So most of the leagues in South America, they play 2 tournaments basically. So there's like 2 leagues. So each semester they have an end.
Okay.
Are
they split like Liga MX?
They have 2 champions per year.
Okay.
So there's basically like if it was in our weather. So it will be like a winter champion in December, and they have a winter champion and a summer champion in June, or late May. But
Okay.
for that sake, like you have a break in between December and February where South Americans leagues don't play, and they make contracts, and there is a brand new season for them too. So there's no excuse to not finding talent where they're gonna be available over there.
Okay.
Yes, I understand the winter break in European soccer is smaller, and they're all under contracts for the rest of the season. These ones are normally South Americans normally make contracts from January to December.
Mhm.
That's kind of like what they do. Um, what I was gonna say, I know you Jeremy he touched a point, and I was like, yes, but oh, the
Oh boy.
fans. Um, I know, and I mentioned it because I've been guilty of not being the most patient fan where it comes to like, oh, pull the coach, or like he's doing so bad or whatever. But I'm still there, and I'm still supporting. I'm still going to every game and doing what it needs to be done, and in my end, as I see it. Um, the only fans that they won't be there if something goes south again next year are the so-called plastic fans. Those are the ones that they're gonna start disappearing, and they're gonna start like already complaining, and they're like, "I'm not buying more tickets. I'm not going to the stadium. Such and such and such." That's fine. I mean, that's fine. We will know if something goes south. We will know who really will stick through the pain of soccer. Because I mean, soccer is a pain. You if you have followed a team for long enough, you know that you lose more than you win.
And by far.
It because even if you're one of the follower of the biggest teams of the world, they have had their lows, and and they have suffered, and like Jeremy will cry for like the next 10 years, but it's okay.
Wow.
Like,
10 years.
um, but I mean, Jeremy, if you think like, I mean,
No, this
Man United
last.
had their amazing seasons, and there is a team that is big and historic. But look how they're doing right now, and they
10
haven't
years.
show
That's-
any sign of like
No,
improvement.
but
And
but
if we go now for like Barcelona, for example, yes, they win some things,
mhm.
but the ones that they really won, they haven't won it in 6-8 years.
Mhm. Well, it's like me celebrating the FA Cup under Ten Hag. He won a couple FA Cups. I'm not.
What is
It's
Sonny doing here?
Man,
okay. Well,
we keep getting them all, man. Giroud not long ago.
I know everybody's here. It's a party. I mean, Romo's talking about the Dodgers and whatever. That probably brought him here. No, but no. Look, here's the deal. If when United is good again, I'm going to be the most insufferable SOB on the planet because
When?
it will make that so much better for me.
When?
Shut up. I don't know when. I don't know that. I'm not the Glazers. I'm not Sir Jim. I don't have a
It's the
clue.
year 3020, and
I'll
finally,
be dead. Just please in my lifetime win
I'm
the
sorry
Prem
to
one more
break it
time.
to you, but Chelsea will win many trophies before United wins one.
Yeah, so will City. So will probably Arsenal. I'll probably have to watch Stan Kroenke lift the Premier League title at some point
No,
before I get
Tottenham's
to.
gonna win it before Manchester United again.
We already gave them a trophy. They don't get any more. God Almighty.
But yes,
I
Oscar,
mean,
you're
if
right.
you take seriously, I think this year is between um, Chelsea, Chelsea,
Liverpool and
Arsenal,
City.
Liverpool, and I think Liverpool is the one who's gonna struggle the most. So I think
I
it's
don't
more
even.
like Chelsea or Arsenal.
I don't think Arsenal's gonna win it.
I
They're like
think the
they're the
most solid team
bridesmaid.
as of right now is Arsenal.
They're the bridesmaid. They play good all season, and then when it
They choke,
matters, they
but
choke. But yes, Jeremy, and I think Oscar, that's the point where I think I've always mentioned is that it's a marathon, not a sprint, especially for a team where you're still you're still in the testing phase, right? You you buy, you fail, you buy, you fail. There will be a time to where just watch Cincinnati, right? 3 years in a row, they were wooden spoon winners. And then all of a sudden, Jeremy decided to quit because he's mad because we talked about United too much. But but I
yeah, no,
think
I
there's
agree.
still a
I
time.
agree more. Like Cincinnati had it way worse if we really look at it.
And they were established because they had a USL team. So it's not like it was a team from scratch. They took a USL team that they had the foundation and the people around the club already, and moved up to MLS and still struggled for 3 years and had to spend a lot less money to go in the MLS. So it looks like they saved their money well enough in those 3 years or so to come up a little bit, and now they want to spend all kinds of crazy money.
Mhm.
So maybe it's get there, but I think we probably killed, beating a dead horse for too much. But now the question is, we have one last home game with RSL. Um, for many reasons, I dislike him even more and more. But we won't touch those topics. But Jeremy, one last thing you want to discuss about RSL before we call it
Uh,
a
I mean, it's going to be an interesting game at that point. RSL is in the mix for the playoffs. I believe they are right in that mix, so they will have something to play for. Let me just real quickly, pull that back up because I hadn't.
Yeah,
I
they're
had not.
ninth right now.
Yeah, they're ninth. So I mean, they're gonna have something to play for. If you look at their form in recent weeks, they have been right there fighting for it. They've won their last two games. They beat Colorado at home last weekend by the score of 1-0. Then they also beat Austin 3-1. So they're right there in the mix. They've won three of their last five, including a win over SKC. The two losses, actually, that's right. Both losses they're both they're done with LAFC. Their last two losses were those games where Bouanga and Son had hat tricks. So
they
um,
got destroyed.
they got destroyed by LAFC. In terms of away games, they've not been very good on the road. They've lost their last three away, including the last one in LA. Prior to that, they lost in Charlotte and New York Red Bull. You have to go all the way back to July for their last away win. So they're a team that they've got some definitely got some kind of some talent on their roster. If you look at their squad and who they have, Real Salt Lake, again, they don't get where they are in the season without having some kind of talent. Diego Luna, obviously, probably the biggest name. Also, Doigo Goncalves they've had. Xavier Gozo has come on as the season's um, progressed. Willie Agata, the former SKC player. By the way, they're just a home for former SKC guys because Johnny Russell's there too. Um, I had a
Oh,
friend of mine say
nice.
that.
I'm
I
gonna
had a
have
friend of mine.
someone to yell at.
I, to that point, I literally had one of my friends message me this afternoon and say, "Look out for tickets for the weekend. It's not a season until I get a chance to boo Johnny Russell."
Yeah, but
That
he's
is
no
literally.
longer. I mean,
It doesn't matter. I
But
don't like.
hey, the one of the things, like all your stats that you gave, but
Yeah.
then this is a matchup that it plays better for RSL than us. They have not lost in City Park or Energizer. Um, their total head to head is City only has one that it was this year when we beat them. No, actually, the first year when we beat them 4-0. At the beginning of the season when we were hot. The rest, they have beat us 3 times and 1 draw. So this is a matchup that plays better for them than for us.
But we're party poopers because we did it once. How about we do it
party
twice?
Poopers.
Well, the last
Or
game
we're
we
really,
probably...
really party poopers, and we're gonna lose our last home game and send everybody home very, very, very upset.
Don't put that in the air. Just don't put that in the air. Just say we're going to be party pooper for the other guys, and
we're not pooping on my birthday party.
Yeah.
My birthday, it's my.
That's true. Yeah, let's not do that.
No, it's okay. No, I mean, look, it wouldn't be the first time they've disappointed me in my life. Wouldn't be the last either.
Let's just let Man United do it, and then we'll help you get better on the day.
Bless it. Oh my God, no. The last game against RSL we lost because the Josh Yarrow own goal, but then he also ended up scoring one in the 81st minute. But it doesn't matter. We had goals from Klaus and Yarrow in the loss. The goals from RSL came from that's the goal. Kaliskin had that laser in the 6th minute. Goncalves in the 43rd, and then Yarrow's own goal in the 64th ended up being the difference ultimately. No, it's going to be a game though. I think the boys will show up. I mean, they've got nothing else to play for. Some guys, their last opportunity to make an impression, to get a contract if it hasn't been decided yet, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a contract in St. Louis either. I don't think it's going to be easy because RSL's got some firepower. They're going to be playing for a playoff chance. But I'm going to 2-1 win. I'm going with a 2-1 win. We're going to end the season on a high note and build out for the future from there.
I think I'm going to...
You waiting for me, Mo?
You know what? I'm going to stick to what I've been calling, and I'm going to put into existence again. 3-1 St. Louis. My last 2, I put 3-1. It happened. So how about we go 3 for 3?
I don't know.
Ryan, change your score because I want everybody to be wrong except me.
Okay, I'm going with 3-1 win. No. I don't know. I think if we win, it will be probably like... Let's be positive and say 3-0.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I know it's not making sense of anything I'm saying so far, but let's hope that Jeremy's birthday has a power and he's a 3-0 win.
I mean, look, Oscar's already told me that United has to disappoint me on my birthday. So if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen.
Be careful with your shoulder, might fall off right now. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just being positive. I'm just being, hey, let's just make it happen.
Oscar,
if I'm realistic, I think we're going to lose 2-1.
Okay, that's pause for a second. Do you realize who the hell United plays the day after my birthday?
Oh,
no.
Snap.
I don't look at bad teams.
We play Liverpool.
They're beatable.
They're beatable.
You saw what Chelsea just did?
Wait. I thought you were a Liverpool guy. Am I nuts?
I am a Liverpool guy, but they have lost a lot of my excitement getting rid of Lucho Diaz.
Well,
now they're just a regular team.
Fair enough.
But hey, they lost against Chelsea.
I mean, the 3 guys that they brought in, they haven't connected yet. So until the point like they start connecting, like they're not gonna be an unbeatable team. They lost 3 in a row so far.
Oh, and United hasn't really played extremely convincing football either. I mean, Šeško's got a goal, but he hasn't gelled well. And that game is going to be at Anfield. So, I mean, I'm not optimistic, but it's all right. At some point, we'll hang out at the Theater of Dreams.
It's on the Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday the 19th, the day
but
after.
It's after your birthday, though.
It is after my birthday
weekend. You're gonna be excited for the win for City, and then you get disappointed by Man United, and then you get happy again with City 2.
That's fine. I mean, that's going to be a fun day. I think there's the city 5K sprint is that morning, and then there'll be the city. Then there's the Liverpool United game, and then we've got City 2 playoffs that night. So
Wait, so 2?
what?
Oh, Sunday. So okay.
So we play the 18th. City 2 plays the 19th.
Okay, yeah. I'll have to.
And apparently Jeremy's gonna be running on the 19th.
I'm not running. I thought about it, but I am not. But I know a lot of people who are.
I thought you're saying City sprint because you were doing it.
No, I should have. But
I'll
that was
be.
a good plug for it. Are you?
No, yeah. No, I'm not doing it.
I'm not fit enough for that.
I'm not a runner anymore.
I might be, but no.
So,
It's
well, we'll
just the
see.
18.
Nonetheless, look, here's the deal. At the end of the day, I'm going to be corny for a second. I'm going to be winning no matter what because I'm going to be enjoying some footy with my friends. That's really all I want. Win or lose.
Oh.
No, cheesy and sappy for a second. No, seriously. Energizer Park is my happy place. It's the last game for a season. I just one last party with all my buddies, seeing all my friends before the game, during the game, at the game. It's going to be fun. I just want an entertaining game, and who knows? Maybe we'll get fireworks again. They did fireworks at the end of the regular season last year.
Yeah, hopefully it's something fun. And hopefully we closed out the right way.
Yep.
So yes, I think that pretty much closed out for today's great episode.
That's for Jeremy's comment.
Oh, and hey, look, we even had Charlie on tonight, guys. This was a big
Yes.
show.
That's how it's done. But with that say, appreciate you all joining in that episode of Top Corner Talk, because I was gonna say something else. But with that said, so I think we're all so no games.
Yeah.
Wow, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to do something.
We'll figure some out.
Yes. But enjoyed the break.
Let's do a watch along of who's Man United gonna lose next week.
Jesus.
Oh wait, there is an international break, so there's no.
No,
So watch more
You're not
soccer.
losing.
We'll have to pick. We'll have to pick one of the MLS games over the weekend or something.
No, guess what? I know I'm gonna be watching. Colombia plays Mexico on Saturday.
Okay.
There's a lot of
8
games
o'clock.
happening. World Cup
Yeah.
qualifiers and all that. So
All right.
don't miss out.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
You guys were awesome.